Hey everybody, welcome back to Level Uploading Fight Feelings Face Facts with yours truly, Shay Shay. I'm sure you guys missed me last week. I definitely missed you. I'm not sure if you're new here, but if not, just for your own personal, information, I do have some medical things that are in the works right now. So every now and then I will have those times where I won't be able to come on camera. But also, if you are, familiar with my channel, you know that this does not happen often, and I am very consistent with my content, at least weekly. So last week was probably the first time I missed a week in quite some time. Probably in months, like since April, I want to say, when I was in the hospital. Thankfully, I want to say that I was not in the hospital this time. My health is still all over the place. But the great thing is, with the content creation, I'm able to kind of control when that goes out, control the narrative a little bit more. I have been working and trying to get myself together fully. And so that is my disclaimer. I apologize to anybody who was looking forward to something from me last week. It just wasn't. It just wasn't gonna happen. I'm actually still a little bit sick now, so you might see some cuts here and there with me because I've been having these crazy sneeze attacks, like sneezing like back to back. So that if I do happen to have one of those situations, I will edit them out. Now that we got all of that out the way, I hope you guys have been having an amazing weekend, some change. It is the first day of October. I'm really excited for this quarter four living that we're about to do. I feel like this quarter is gonna bring it home. The end of 2022 is gonna be awesome. I feel like so many good things are in store. Even with my health being weird and all that, like, I'm just so blessed. I have so many blessings and so many things to be thankful for, and I'm really seeing how good God has been to me this year, like, so far, and I just know the best is yet to come. I'm looking forward to seeing what 2023 is going to bring, but for now, we're going to make quarter four of this year count, okay? We're going to make this count. We're going to make this these are the seeds, this is the seeds that we're planting to reap in 2023. So I'm still planting, and I'm ready to sow. I'm ready to start sowing next year. So, y'all, so another thing that kept me off this camera, other than me being kind of sick, well, my health, just my general health, and me being sick, like my voice, which is not fully back, and being nasally, my skin has been clowning, and I'm just like not used to this whatsoever. Like, I'm used to having fairly good skin, so for whatever reason, my skin has been clowning, and it is what it is. And I know people will look at this and be like, girl, what are you talking about? Because I know that there's people who suffer from a lot worse, and I sympathize with them. And I know that one of the worst and most irritating things is to have someone who barely is going through anything complain about something. But for me and what I'm used to from my own self and my own body, it's bad for me. But I understand it probably doesn't even register or seem that way to you guys. Just not feeling your complete best in so many different ways. I don't want to come on this camera and fake it for you guys, so I would rather skip a week than to come on here and just not be my best, or to be inauthentic and disingenuous. That's the last thing we need. We have enough of those people on these platforms. I don't want to be one of them. But I think that's the last of my disclaimers. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm here. I feel as better than I have felt the rest of this week. I've been getting into my intermittent fasting, which is a task in and of itself, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, back to level uploading, fight feelings, face facts. So, this week, this is going to be a real quick one. I kind of wanted to just have a reflective moment with you guys. In regards to thinking back on and being accountable for some of the arrogance, some of the invincibility complexes, and some of the errored egotistical things that have happened and been done by me in my past, and how they come full circle, and some of the same things that make you laugh now make you cry later. One of the reasons why this was something that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk about it last week while it was a little bit more relevant, but hey, it is what it is. I was seeing the situation online on Black Twitter with Cardi B and Akbar V, and how they were going back and forth. And I understand anger, and I understand whatever, and I'm not here to dissect their feud or the reasoning behind it, or even to take a side. But I am here kind of using them as an example, and also a segue into me kind of giving you some background on ways I feel like this has reigned true in my life as well. So basically they were going back and forth saying all these hurtful things to each other, just tearing each other down. And ultimately, people don't understand. I understand being upset. I understand being angry. I understand, having to feel like you have to get your lick back, and you have to, get them, and you have to make sure that no one makes you look weaker. But those things that you put out into the universe, you're calling them back to yourselves. And so, like, for example, Cardi B said some very crazy things to Akbar V, which I feel like Akbar was saying some very hurtful things as well. But I feel like in this situation, when it came to the low blows, I really do think that Cardi B was going a little bit too low. And it is what it is. But she said some things about her Akbar V's mother, who had recently passed. And I'm just sitting here looking, and I'm like, all of our mothers have to pass, right? You know that one day you'll be on here saying, you'll be on here saying, asking for condolences and prayers because your mother is the one that has passed. I just felt like it was very dark. It was a very dark situation. She did some other things as well, but that I'm not even going to discuss any of that. It was just the fact that people don't really realize the things and the power that their words have, because she's telling this other woman, oh God, don't start. Let me pause. Y'all, I'm struggling over here. Sorry, I had to take a pause break. I'm over here sneezing still, but please bear with me. Like I said, this will be quick because I can't do the long talking without these sneeze attacks right now. But I'm not sure exactly what I was saying, but basically people don't understand how their words have so much power, and this energy that you're putting out into the world is what you're going to reap. You're sowing this type of energy, and that's what you're going to reap. I just implore everyone to be careful, even in bouts of anger, even in frustration, even when you feel defensive. Be careful with going that low. Like, I do understand. I don't want to absolve Akbar for saying hurtful things and going back and forth as well, but some of the levels, people have been bragging and saying, when you go low, I go lower. When you go low, I go to hell. Like, that's not the goal here. At least that's not what I thought. Like, us going to hell, us taking it so far, Like I think that there is limitations that we go to. We say kids are off limit, but then we're talking about kids. We say, people who are past are off limit, but we're talking about people who've passed. Like, it has to be a limit to the disrespect and the ignorance, even in anger. But I digress. I digress. I'll segue that into some things that represent me and how I have been guilty of things of that nature. Okay, so everyone knows, if you have a Facebook, that Facebook gives you memories, and you can look back over, your time and things you've said, posts from far back as when you first got onto Facebook, depending on, whatever their archive selection pulls up. It's one of my favorite features of it because it helps me to see my growth. It helps me to see, where I am and how I've evolved, and the things that are still, I say what I said, and the things that I'm like, oh, well, I used to think like that. I don't necessarily think like that anymore, but okay, I was thinking something, I was thinking something like, don't think like that anymore. But now I have changed my views. But okay, I understand why I felt like that during that time. So I love looking back on those memories and things. But also, one of the cringe parts about looking back at those is that a lot of times in my youth, so I've been on Facebook since Facebook was a thing. Back when you had to have a college email even to sign up. Okay, so I've been rocking with Zuckerberg, even though he keeps putting me in jail for stupid stuff. Sorry, a little sensitive. I've been rocking with Zuckerberg since 2005, literally 6, late 506. You know what I'm saying? So think about that. I've been on Facebook since I was 17. I skipped a grade, so I graduated when I was 17, and then I was in college when I was 17. So I'm 34. Half of my life has been spent on Facebook. So you have to think about that. I'm 17, and now I'm 34. So the range of the posts that could be posted up there, of course, they're gonna be all over the place. You're gonna have the youthful ignorance. We're gonna have the girls, you ain't been through nothing yet. We're gonna have the I feel invincible because I'm young, I'm out here living my life, I'm finally grown. We're gonna have all of those. We're gonna have the heartbreaks. We're gonna have the people who we thought was our soulmates. We're gonna have the friends on there who we thought would be with us until we grew old, who didn't really mean us any well, or just wasn't a part of our journey, our lifetime journey. So you experience a lot going through the Facebook memories. And one of the things that I have seen is I've noticed within myself, especially in my younger years, in my youth, let's say from 18 to 23, 4, something like that. Mostly, I would say 18 to like 22, 23. But I've noticed a certain arrogance that was ridiculous in my past posts, and I never really realized how arrogant I was. I don't even know that it was genuine arrogance. I've always been a pretty confident person. I will say I've been confident, but I think with growing up on the internet and growing up in social media, as of course it evolved into this monster that it is today, this monster, but also this commodity. Like, it has both sides to it. But with growing up in my literal formative years dealing with it, I think I adopted this persona of something that was honestly terrifying when I look back at it. Like, I was like, did you really think like this? Were you just saying this? Like, what in the arrogant? There were so many things. For instance, what was something? Let me think of an example of something that was like, girl, the same stuff that make you laugh, make you cry. Like, I was talking about people out here lazy, they don't want to do nothing. the bare minimum you should have is a job and a car and a this and a that. And it's like, just very arrogant, very ignorant. There are people who have a lot of, don't get me wrong, I do think you should be trying to strive to get yourself together. Don't get me wrong, I still feel that way about, trying to get yourself together. But the way that it was put was just so, it had no empathy, it had no sympathy, it had no compassion for people who have not had the best upbringings, who have not had the best setup, who have not had parents that put them on a success path. It had no compassion whatsoever. Another example, calling other women stupid for the decisions that they made in their youth of trying to figure out their life with dealing with romantic relationships, and me just being like, y'all dumb. And I can still say that I struggle with that a little bit sometimes, because I don't really understand some of the decision making that some people make. But that's not for me to judge, and that's definitely not for me to put down. But saying people are dumb, and then some of the stuff that I was putting down is hilarious, because guess what? Although I had not gone through it in that moment, in that time, a couple years later, I was going through that. I was the dumb one. I was the one that was making trash decisions with men, and I was the one being manipulated in the same way that I was talking down on these women arrogantly, like this could never be me. God has shown me, okay, keep on living, just keep living. And so, oh my God, I'm so tired of sneezing. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get through this. I'm struggling, okay? I'm struggling. But, I don't know, it keeps messing up my train of thought because I'm freaking sneezing every 5 seconds. Ugh. Y'all, I must love y'all for me to be going through this right now with these hot lights in my face. And it's not coming in my nostrils. Anyway, what was I saying? Whatever. So basically, I was just an arrogant little prick, and everything that I put out into the universe, God brought it back to me. Like, I put these words out into the atmosphere, and God humbled me and showed me that I am not above anybody else. I am finally, I've been reading my my Bible, and I'm just made it to the New Testament finally. And like, one thing that I can say with me spending time with my word is that God has really been convicting me about arrogance and empathy, and just not being compassionate. I mean, as 34-year-old Shay is a lot more empathetic and compassionate and understanding, because I've been through some things. I've been on both sides of things. I've been up, I've been down, I've been coasting, so it's different. But even still, I feel like God has been just showing me, like, you see how you were, like, this is why those things are happening to you, and this is why I'm working on your spirit and your heart, so that you can have a heart like my heart, in order for you to really truly be the change, be the light for people. You can't be the light for people if you're in your head judging them, you know what I mean? And that's not who I want to be. That's not who I claim to be. I don't want that for myself. I don't want you guys to judge every little thing I do. I don't want you guys to look at me while I'm on here snotting and be like, who's gonna listen to her? You know what I mean? Like, who is she? She ain't nobody. So if you don't want to be judged, you can't judge others. And I want to make sure that in my level of journey, that as I continue to go higher, that I am not being dismissive to people just because they're not on the path with me. I have struggled with this, and not in a way of being dismissive necessarily, but I've struggled with trying to drag people along on my journey with me, and having to finally realize, like, I can't take them with me. I can't make them accelerate their lessons. Like, I'm not God. God has to get them in the right mindset. God has to put them through a few more things. God has to put them through some, some trials. God has to give them some victories. God has to gain their trust. And me realizing that I cannot force anyone or pull someone on the journey just because my eyes have been open to certain things has been very it's been helpful for me, but it's also been hard on me because it's very hard when you see people who you care about and you want to relate to them and you want to be on the same wavelength as them, but you're not anymore because they're not ready to go where you're going. And so it's like, do I sit here and wait by the door until you get ready, or do I keep on my journey? And I mean, of course, I time waits for no man, so I'm going to keep on my journey to find what my path is. And if it's meant for us to align again in the future, then we can and we will. I'll see you on the other side. But it is hard, dealing with people on that level. And for me personally, I think one thing God is working with me on is learning how to love people from a distance and not have to separate completely from them just because they're not ready. Like, I have some people that I can do that with, but that's because of their personalities. But there are some people that are in my close circle that it's like, either you're so close to me that either I have to eliminate you because you're not ready yet and you're dead weight, just call it like it is. And then there's some people who are very close to me, but they're not in my day-to-day circle, so it's not a hindrance to me. Like, I can see their growth from a distance more so than someone who's I'm dealing with daily and I'm talking to all the time and I'm breaking bread with. We have to be somewhat on a similar path, or at least trying to be, or at the very minimum it has to be a healthy, boundary filled relationship where your choices are not affecting me in a way that's detrimental to my walk. And a lot of times that's not the case. I have not run into that. I have been very transparent about the fact that I have codependent relationships have been a thing, particularly in friendships. For me, I tend to attract very codependent people, and it's kind of weird because I'm not codependent, but obviously I am in some way because I keep letting it happen. But like, even my mom and my sister, like, which are the closest people in this world to me, I have never been like that. Like, I'm the child, even as a child, I'm the child that's like in the room by myself. I was the only child for 5 years until my sister came along. And I was perfectly fine, okay? I'm glad she's here. But I'm just saying, like, I was perfectly fine. I sit in the room and read and have a ball by myself. I've just, the codependency thing is just not something that I really dislike. That I really feel applies to me. Child, I ain't about to mess with this light anyway. We'll just turn this one up. Anyway, y'all, sorry. It's just not something that I attribute to myself and my personality, but neither here nor there. I'm just working on not being arrogant and not sowing things that I don't want to reap. So in doing so, I'm having to take a look and take a mirror to myself and make sure that I am on point, because honestly, it's so easy to point the finger at other people and say what they should be doing and what they're not doing and why they aren't doing this. But you have to look within. You have to be accountable. You have to look within. You have to be accountable. You have to be reflective. You have to be willing to change and be willing to be wrong. I recently had a situation. Oh my God, I don't know if I want to tell this. I really recently had a situation where I was at work. I'm going to keep it very vague because I'm not going to give specifics. But someone said something to me that, I mean, didn't hurt me at all, but was a little offensive. But God checked me automatically when I was about to become defensive about it, because it was something that I had laughed at someone else about for years and years and years. It was something that I had really got a good key out of when it was happening to someone else. And so it was like a full circle moment for me. And I cracked up laughing because God definitely checked me in that moment. Like, hey, remember you was laughing at this. So, keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. That's pretty much what he was saying. And like I said, just being able to self-reflect and check yourself before you wreck yourself is amazing. And it's something that I'm glad that the Holy Spirit has been allowing me to do, allowing me to see the error in my ways and better correct it. That's the only way to really correct things, is by acknowledging it first. The first step in recovery is acknowledging you have a problem, or you're acknowledging that something is wrong, acknowledging that you did something that was out of line. I hope that resonated with you. I hope that you can take this week to reflect. I've been trying to, I don't necessarily write it down, which I need to get better with that, because I feel like writing down stuff makes it real. These little notes on my phone, they cool, but I need to start actually writing and using my penmanship. But I want to start reflecting and journaling on the things that I feel God has shown me the error in my ways of, and things that I have put out into the world that I want to recall. Hopefully you can take this week and just reflect on some things that you have been hypocritical about, or that you have kind of needed checking. You can check yourself. You don't always need someone else to check you. So hopefully you can take this week to do that, guys. I will talk to you later. Have a good one. I'm gone before I start sneezing. Bye.